The next transformative text that would be a useful resource in the classroom is Gugu's House. I believe that this text will be a very useful transformative text to incorporate in the classroom because the setting takes place in Zimbabwe. I think that this book allows children to gain new perspectives on how other cultures live, cultural lifestyles, cultural values, and I think that this book just allows people to also, students to also see less fortunate countries and more fortunate countries and just become more aware and accepting of that. And I also think, like the quote said, that students from these different cultures will feel more comfortable and confident in the classroom if the teacher brought them up in a lesson. So the next book is called Pink is for Boys, and I chose this one as a transformative text because it basically just talks about breaking stereotypes and that if a boy wants to play with Barbies or if he wants to dress up, that's totally fine, and it's all about gender equality. And I think in today's society that is extremely necessary to incorporate in the classroom because it is becoming more and more people are becoming more and more open about talking about it. So the next text that I chose is called Matilda, and I chose this text because it is about a young girl who is from extremely unsupportive parents, and even though that she is from an unsupportive family and an unsupportive household, she still finds a way to get to the library, to read, to motivate herself, and I think it's a very good message for for children and students to and I know a lot of children can relate to having unsupportive parents, so I think it's really good that they understand that other children deal with that as well and stay motivated and just kind of make sure that they're keeping up with their stuff on their own, and also that other people deal with it so they are not alone. And then the next text that I chose is 3 questions, and this is a transformative text because the main character, his name's Nikolai, I think, or Nikolai. He asks 3 questions throughout the book, and it is: when is the best time to do things, who is the most important one, and what is the right thing to do? And I chose this book because I believe that religion is something that should be discussed within the classroom nowadays. I know that it used to be very frowned upon, but I think it's important because religion shouldn't be looked at like that. It should be looked at as something where as a culture where people would accept their religion but not necessarily have to follow that, and I think that it's really important to include religious books in the classroom as a transformative text, just so they can students can kind of just accept one another for that and feel open about something that's important to them if it is important to them. And then another book I chose was Charlotte's Web, and this book they're actually reading in my clinicals, and that's where I kind of got the idea. And this book it shows transformative text in 2 different ways. In the beginning, I thought it was a good idea to include it because people thought Wilbur the pig was supposed to die because he was a runt, but then ended up winning in the county fair and winning competitions and competing. So I think it shows a really valuable message to not judge classmates based off of looks, or to not assume the worst, and also to just kind of be more accepting because you never know really what that person is like. And then another transformative message that I thought was in Charlotte's Web is it also just shows Fern is the main character, and it just kind of talks about her farm life, and I think that students who come from farms and things like that can relate to this book, and they'll just kind of find it cool that they can relate to their home background within the book as well. The next book I chose was called Lovely, and this book, it just displays different races, multiple sexual orientations, gender equality. I chose this book just based off of the characters and the images mostly. It has a wide variety of people in it, and I think that almost every student can find someone in the book that they can relate to, and I think that's really important, that they can see the different people, see different races, religion, cultural outfits, things like that, and they can all just become accepting of it because there are so many different people in the world. So that's the book Lovely. The next book is Al Defo, and that book is about a rabbit that loses her hearing, and she talks about how she's bullied in school and how her friends have a hard time understanding her just because she's deaf, and in the end she realizes that she's great, she has superpowers because she's deaf, and I think it just shows it displays a really good message towards children who have disabilities, and it makes students realize that a disability is not blocking them from doing a lot of the things that they can do, and it will just make them more accepting of each other, and honestly make the student with disabilities feel better and just be able to relate to someone in the book, and I think that would make them feel more confident in the classroom overall. So that's El Defo. And then the last one is Star of the Week. Sorry, I haven't put the picture up yet, but that book is about a young girl named Cassidy who's adopted from China, and it was her turn to be the student of the week, and she ends up being really upset because she discovers that she doesn't have a picture with her birth parents. And this was the last one I wanted to choose to include in the transformative text because I wanted to put a wide variety of different issues being discussed in the class, different topics being discussed in the classroom, such as race, low income households or high income households, and then different cultures. And so this one I thought was a good, and then disability, and I thought that this was a good one to include because it doesn't just talk about different cultures, but also talks about students who have been adopted, and I think that students in the class who were adopted feel really good about this book, and it would make them feel more confident overall about who they are because they will be able to relate to it, and their classmates will be able to accept it more because they have learned more about it. So yeah.